Chapter 4: Light and Shadow. You will learn what is light, transparent, translucent and opaque objects. What is shadow? Condition for formation of shadow. Shadow formation during the day. Characteristics of shadow. What is light? We are able to see the world with the help of sunlight. Light allows us to see the world around. We feel so energetic and active in the presence of light. Light is the form of energy and it travels in a straight line.
Let us perform an activity to examine that light travels in straight line. Activity 1. Light travels in straight line. Aim: to examine that light travels in a straight line. Material required: 2 tubes, one straight, another bent, and a small candle. Method: look at the light coming from the candle through the straight tube and then through the bent tube. What do you notice? Observation: the candle light can be seen through the straight tube, but nothing can be seen through the bent tube. Can you infer the reason? Conclusion: this is because that light travels in straight line. That is why light can be seen through the straight tube. Light from any source is very important for us. We get light from many sources. Some sources of light are natural, whereas some sources are man-made. The source that emits its own light is natural, such as sun and stars. The sources that are man-made are called artificial source of light, such as torch and candle.
The objects that allow light to pass. The objects such as glass, water, cellophane paper, etc. allow the light to completely pass through them are called transparent object. The objects such as oil paper, butter paper, etc. allow the light to pass through them only partially are called translucent object. The objects like wood, cardboard, leather, iron, etc. do not allow the light to pass through them are called opaque object. What is shadow? A shadow is a dark area formed when an opaque object comes in the path of the light and blocks it. The shadow takes up all of the space behind the object with light in front of it. Since the object absorbs light, we see nothing but black color. An opaque object forms a dark shadow, as it is able to block light completely, while a translucent object forms a faint shadow, as it allows the light to pass through it partially. Conditions for the formation of shadow. The shadow requires the following 3 conditions to form: a source of light, an opaque object in the way, a screen to see a shadow. The screen for the formation of shadow could be a wall, a cardboard or simply ground. We can get some information about shapes of objects from shadow. The color of the opaque object does not affect the color of the shadow. Formation of shadow during the day. Shadows appear different at different times of the day because the size and the position of a shadow depend on the size and position of the source of light and the object. The shape and the length of the shadows change because the sun appears to move across the sky from morning to evening due to the movement of Earth. Shadows are longest in the morning and in the late afternoon. This is because in the morning and evening the sun is far away, thus the shadows are long. They are shortest at noon when the sun is overhead. It is hitting all the area around the object, so a very little shadow is formed. Do you know? Sundials use shadows to tell the time. A sundial is a device which tells time by the position and length of the shadow. Our ancestors used sundial to get the idea of time. You will find a sundial in Delhi and Jaipur. Characteristics of shadow. A shadow is formed when an opaque object comes in the path of light. A shadow is always formed on the opposite side of the source of light. The shape and the length of the shadows change during the day. Shadows are always dark. A shadow shows only the shape of an object.
Activity 2. Measure your shadow. Stand in sun early in the morning. Ask your brother or sister to mark your shadow on the ground with a chalk. Mark the position of your feet also. Stand at the same place during the lunch time. Repeat the same thing. Again stand at the same place in the evening. Repeat the same activity. Note your observation. Is the size of the shadow same or different? What could be the reason? Draw your conclusion.
Let us revise. Light is the form of energy and it travels in a straight line. The source that emits its own light is natural. The source that is man-made is called artificial source of light. The objects that allow the light to completely pass through them are called transparent objects. The objects that allow the light to pass through them only partially are called translucent objects. The objects that do not allow the light to pass through them are called opaque objects. A shadow is a dark area formed when an opaque object blocks the path of the light.